G'day, SPARTANWILLY here and welcome back to our Aston Martin Motorsport Manager F1 2021 Manager Mod save. So, as you can see there for the Circuit Americas, we've been returned to the best on grid in all areas after Red Bull's little fiasco last time out. If you missed that, I recommend you go check that out. It was quite bizarre. They just pulled out with two amazing engines and destroyed us in the race and then got both those engines disqualified and lost all their points. And quite frankly, would have done better if they didn't get fined, lose the engines, and yeah. I mean, they would have spent quite a bit of money on those engines as well, so they would have gained more ground if they didn't cheat. But that's a bit of a life lesson. But yeah, suspension done in one day. We've got 10 days to Circuit of Americas, and then back to back with Mexico, and then Interlagos, and then another week Melbourne, back to back with Jeddah, and then another week Yas Marina. So the end of the season's in the sight. Of course, we also wrapped up the constructors last time out. George Russell and Lando Norris will go to the wire, sort of. Let's just say it hasn't been decided just yet. Maybe ART can pick up a point. Be interesting to follow that in the last handful of races. And yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do this 10 days off camera, and I'll bring you back with the highlights when it is time for the Circuit of Americas. On to the Circuit of Americas today, so the usual there. And with the car, we've just been improving in all the areas where we haven't completely done it out there. So I realized what I did with the engine. That's why it's not better. Is because I just wanted to build a quick engine so I could build the next level of component, because you got to use one of each component before you can move on to the next. But the next level of engine isn't even better than the ones we got, so we're not going to build another engine, I don't think. There's not much better we can do there. We've actually built so many parts this season, as you can see, so trying to improve them all, get the maximum out of it. We've finished the new suspension, which is fantastic to see. They're pretty equal, but Russell's going to have a 20 high speed, a medium speed corner boost during qualifying, which is minimal. We basically just got to do the front wings performance to their maximum, and we've improved the car massively. We've got another set of brakes being completed though, which will improve our brakes slightly, but there's not really much more room we can go with improving this car this season. We've been really good with the development side, as you can see there by the way our columns look. We don't need cheats unlike Red Bull, but yeah, that's that. Moving on to the race, I'm going to do practice Q1, Q2, and see for Q3, but I'm worried it's going to be a pretty routine race with the clear forecast, but anything can happen. Bring it on. Alright, Q3 at the Circuit of Americas. We come to this track in the game quite often throughout the season, but it's a nice looking track, not too bad through the trees. We've got an all excellent setup, which is perfect. Hopefully we get 3 good runs in. Here to space, send out Norris. Look at that. Excellent for both drivers. That is just excellent. 135s. Oh, we might be able to get 3 runs. I doubt it. But we'll sure as hell give it our best shot. Norris has actually been quicker than Russell all weekend long, which is interesting more than anything. And it looks like Ricardo's actually going to split our boys, which it is what it is. We're going to send him out in a soft run just to try and get a different sort of pace going. It's always interesting to see the difference between the super soft and the soft pace, where you might actually get a third run. So depending on what lap's quicker, we send him out on that tyre, I believe. And it looks like Russell's slightly quicker on the softs, and third run's not going to happen. Ricardo is going to get a third run though, so let's watch on board him. He's not going to improve sector 1, he's not going to improve sector 2, and we will go 1-2 yet again. But Norris on pole, which he's done quite a few times in recent races, which Russell is going to feel a little bit threatened, but I still think Russell will comfortably win the constructors for a second in a row. Not the constructors, so the drivers. And yeah, that's qualifying. Onto the race. Race day here, sun and cloud there at the bottom. See what that means? Absolutely nothing. So race as usual. Make sure we select the right knowledge there. There we go. Car setup. Yep, it's all good. Attack, overtake, attack, start race. Alright, continue. And here we go. Now, it's all going to be about the race start, it seems like this season. We're going to go from a different angle here. Oh, Norris with a beautiful start, has to be said, and he's away. Ricardo got a decent start from P3, holds his position. Quite a bit of movement behind him, though, so we'll see what happens there. And we're going to zoom ahead nice and quickly. The tyres are in range. They're going to go out of range for Norris, but that's fine. We'll look to cool them back down for a bit, and then there we go. Alright, so we're well and truly away here. 4 laps down. I was expecting a bit of more of a contest between Russell and Norris, but doesn't look like we're going to get it. We're going to be able to one stop quite easily today. Oh my days, yes, very easily. May as well eke out a bit of life out of these tyres, make it a bit more interesting. And Ricardo's got quite a gap to Leclerc. Now, is he cheating again? No, surely not. Not 2 weekends in a row after what happened last week. But he is quite a bit faster than Gasly. So it's good to see the Ferraris have a bit of pace as well. As Hamilton splits them, I'm sort of flipping between all these drivers and we're not really getting much out of it. But Hamilton's actually injured, which is surprising because I don't remember him having a DNF recently. So maybe he's done something in the car or in practice or something. But yeah, he's actually injured. As it's time to pit for those boys. We're looking after these soft tires quite well, and we're still going to obviously have to one stop, but eke out, get as much tire wear at the end of this race, just in case something crazy happens or there's a safety car, we can get a free stop. It's just good to go along in that first stint if you don't lose too much time, I find. Hamilton I don't know why Mercedes do this, but they got both their boys still out there. They're probably losing a hell of a lot of time as Hamilton would come in and come out behind Leclerc. Verstappen's still in third, and I mean, he's not going to be third for very long. As soon as he comes in, Ricciardo, Leclerc, Hamilton will get past him. Maybe even Perez. No, Perez hasn't stopped yet either, to be fair, so that's fine. Schumacher, though, has fallen off the pace a little bit, which should be a bit disappointing for him. He was right with Leclerc not long ago, but that's sort of gone. Let's look at ART, how they going down there. Keep an eye on our tyres, but Oscar's doing decent in P13. I'd love to see him get a point in the season, or else ART could be going down. Do I think he'll get a seat in F1? I do think he will next season. I mean, we've got a couple aging names on the grid now, so maybe they'll look to move on. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the off-season and where we'll go in the off-season if we continue this series, more importantly. But it's almost time for the pit stops here as Pierre Gasly has crashed out, which is a big blow to Red Bull in their get as much prize money as possible hopes. And in the championship between Daniel Ricciardo and Gasly, now the gap's only 10 points, so the Australian could overtake him. Which doesn't really affect us, but it's interesting nonetheless, I suppose. As we're going to look to bring our boys into the pits in the next few laps. Let's ride on board Russell, as he's going to be the first one. No Norris is because his tyres are more worn. It's only a 4-second gap between the two boys, and it's going down rapidly as Norris gets held up in traffic. We're not going to be able to pit him now because he has too much ERS, I believe. Oh no, we still got quite a bit of track to use it, so we'll pit Russell and pit Norris the second lap because this is going to liven things up a little bit for Russell, as he won't have to. I mean, he had to overtake him anyway. I was going to try and pit him before he had to overtake, so it gives him doesn't have to lose as much time as Norris did trying to overtake that blue flags car. But turn off auto, chuck that on, turn auto back on for Russell. Let's see what happens here. Is it going to be any sort of difference? But Lando's on a all purple lap, which is quite surprising considering where the tyres were. But he has used quite a bit of fuel. But 3 seconds between our boys, which, yeah, it's sort of interesting, isn't it? Anything could happen, but that gap is extending. And will everyone else have to pit again? I do think they will, because I don't see that tie going towards the end of this Grand Prix. But right now it seemed like we're going to get an anthem, quite an easy anthem on track. And Norris could win 2 races in a row, but that gap to Russell is going down. It sort of goes down and makes me think there's going to be a chance, and then it flies back up higher than it was before. So who knows? We're going to tell the boys to push a little bit on these tyres, get them right up to that optimal zone with 20 laps to go. How's the rest of the grid looking? Leclerc and Hamilton could have a little battle forming back there, which is, look, I think Mercedes should pit Hamilton right this minute if I'm the Mercedes team principal. Put him on the super softs. I mean, it depends where the intel is. Actually, they got quite a bit of wet because they went longer on the first stint. Maybe they're going for a one-stop. It's possible, I suppose. Maybe I don't consider that. They eked out the first stint. I mean, 40%. They could one stop, but I think it would be a very silly decision. There's no point forcing it on bad tyre wear in this game. You lose so much time, and a pit stop's not a 25-second pit stop like it is in real life at some tracks. It's literally like 10 seconds you lose. So really not worth wasting time conserving on dead tyres. So Hamilton's going to have to pit, unfortunately for him. But it means we're going to have someone different on the podium. There's going to be 2 Australians on the podium and 2 Brits. So interesting. Me and Ricciardo, and of course Norris and Russell. As things stand, of course, things can change rapidly if one of our boys hit a wall or Ricciardo hits a wall. So yeah, I mean, let's touch wood that doesn't happen. Luckily my desk is made out of wood, so that's easy to do. But 6 laps to go here. We've sort of talked our way through the entire Grand Prix without meaning to, but yeah, pretty routine race, but it's been interesting to see how it battles around the field. We sort of have to turn our attention to other battles as Ferrari and Red Bull going toe and toe. Gasly crashing out will really hurt Red Bull, but that's something we can watch over the next few races for sure, because that is a spot on the season standings podium, which I mean, that's a bit of a push calling at that. But here's Norris. He's going to come in for his second race win of the season. We have seen him do really well, which is great to see. Hopefully next year we can see from another perspective, if we continue this series, that battle will continue. But usually the AI do favour one driver, so I don't think we will. But they could favour Norris, I suppose. But Norris going to come across the line here and win the Circuit of America's Grand Prix. Quite a routine victory, but Norris was just fast all weekend, so fair play to him. Great to see Aston Martin win again. And look, what is the gap now between our two boys? We'll chuck it through the calculator. It could come down a bit closer. It depends who got the fastest lap as well. That 1 point adds a lot of difference if you have a look here. Norris surely, I mean, on his in lap he was setting purple lap time, so screwed anyway. We got no worries to worry about. Anyone cheating? No, no one really cheating. Fastest lap does go to Lando, which makes things quite interesting. And like I said, 2 Australians on the grid and 2 Brits on the grid. Quite interesting. Usually we see Hamilton at the bottom step, and it's good to see Red Bull have a bit of success without cheating. Daniel Ricciardo flying the flag solo, obviously after Gasly crashed out. We continue on here. So what's that now? 63 points between our boys, divided by 26, we'll say, because mathematically you get 26 points. 2.4 races, so it's going down by about 0.3 a race, but Lando, I don't think he's going to get it done unless Russell crashes out. There it is. Obviously, we've already won the constructors. We're probably going to get almost. No, we will probably get 800 points for continuing at this rate. I wonder if it's possible to get 1,000. Probably you need a few more races actually. But yeah, that has been this race. Alpine let me down. I might give up on the sport because follow Aston Martin or SPARTANWILLY rather. Follow where we go next season. Brilliant from Lando. Can anyone stop them? No, they physically cannot stop them, Will Buxton. But yeah, that has been the Circuit of the Americas Grand Prix. So interview with YouTube here with Nico Rosberg. Which one of the drivers better? At the moment, Lando Norris, because he won the last race. We'll just say that. In fact, he's won the last 2 now, which is exciting. 2 in a row, and he got pole in both those. So he's on quite the charge. Actually, no, he didn't get pole last time out. Of course, he did the time before that, I believe. I don't know, it gets a bit muddled, but of course Red Bulls are on pole last time out in Suzuka. But it looks like we have a rainy Mexico Grand Prix to look forward to tomorrow, Rich. I mean, make sure to tune in for that because the rain can mix things up. And then Interlagos, we've got rain in practice and qualifying and cloudy race. I wouldn't be surprised if rain sneaks in there as well at the race. Of course, Mexico and Interlagos are very rough on the tyres, so who knows, we could have a bit of a mix-up, but we take our total up to 15 wins for the season, which is just mad. And then Norris wins his 4th win. It's great to see Norris getting wins, the second driver, really is. And well, Lance Stroll sort of just sitting in the reserves, but it is what it is, isn't it? That being said, that will be it for this episode. Make sure to tune in tomorrow as we look to close down the season. There's not much really at stake in the well, there's nothing at stake in the constructors for us personally, but there's some, you know, good battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 5th, and then the point scrap, trying to get out of that relegation spot in 10th. Who's winning Formula 2? Who's coming up Haas? So, I mean, they could still lose it. Trident are close behind, and yeah, just interesting to have a look around. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like at the video. It helps out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, but I'm sure you already have. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.